Karen loses it after I buy house outside her HOA, screams, "We'll seize you by force if we have to." It was one of those days when the sun was almost too bright, the kind of day where everything looks picture perfect, but you can feel the storm brewing beneath the calm. My name's Alex. I'm 34, an engineer, and I'd just moved into what I thought was my dream home, a charming old farmhouse sitting on 2 acres, tucked right next to the Stonebrook Meadows HOA, but not inside it. And that, apparently, was a crime in Karen's eyes. Karen lived across the street, right where the HOA boundary ended. She was the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood, mid-50s, pearl necklace, perfectly trimmed hedges, and a glare sharp enough to cut steel. I hadn't even unpacked my moving boxes when she came marching over, clutching a clipboard like it was a weapon. "Excuse me," she barked, standing at the edge of my gravel driveway. "Are you aware this area falls under the Stonebrook Meadows Homeowners Association?" I smiled politely. "Actually, it doesn't. My property line is right here, outside the HOA zone. Bought it specifically for that reason." Her smile froze. The muscles in her face twitched like she'd just swallowed something sour. "That can't be right," she said, flipping through her papers. "Everyone on this side of the road follows HOA regulations. It's mandatory." I pointed toward the old oak tree at the corner of my lot. "That tree's been the border since 1973. Even the county records say so." Karen's face turned a deeper shade of red. "Well," she huffed, "we'll see about that." And with that, she spun on her heels and marched away. That was my first mistake. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, I woke up to the sound of hammering. When I went outside, I found Karen and 2 men in neon vests putting up a HOA notice sign at the end of my driveway. "What do you think you're doing?" I asked, crossing my arms. Karen turned, her expression smug. "We're officially extending the HOA boundary," she said sweetly. "Unanimous board vote. Except," I said, pulling out my phone, "you can't just do that. I checked the county plat map last night." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, sweetie, you'll find that around here, we handle things internally. If you're living next to us, you follow our rules." Then she pointed to my pickup truck. "That thing," she said, sneering, "will have to go. It doesn't fit the neighborhood aesthetic." I couldn't help it. I laughed. "Good luck enforcing that on someone not in your HOA." Her smile cracked. "We'll see how long you laugh when we fine you into compliance." For the next few weeks, the harassment escalated. Letters taped to my door. HOA inspectors taking photos of my backyard. A notice threatening to lien my property for unpaid dues I never owed. I called the county office again and again. Each time, they confirmed, "You're outside the HOA. They have zero authority over you." But Karen didn't care about legalities. This was about control. Then one morning, I woke up to shouting. Out front, 3 HOA members stood in my driveway, Karen at the center, holding a megaphone. "This is your final notice," she screamed. "You are in violation of HOA bylaws section 4A, unapproved fencing, vehicle visibility, and non-compliant paint color." I stepped outside, coffee in hand. "You can't enforce any of that. This is private property." Karen slammed her clipboard down on her car hood. "We've consulted our attorney," she yelled. "If you won't comply voluntarily, we'll seize your property by force if we have to." Neighbors peeked from their windows. Phones came out. Someone started recording. I just stared at her. "You're threatening to seize a home you don't even have jurisdiction over." Karen jabbed her finger at me. "You think you're clever, living right next to us, mocking our standards. But you're poisoning this neighborhood. You either join the HOA, or you'll regret it." And then she stormed off, leaving a flyer on my windshield. Mandatory emergency HOA meeting regarding non-member property integration. That night, I decided I'd had enough. I gathered every document I had, the deed, property survey, tax maps, and made copies. I also started a small YouTube channel that I'd never really used before, called HOA Horror Files. I uploaded the videos I'd been quietly recording, Karen's threats, the bogus notices, her screaming matches. Within 2 days, the video hit 200,000 views. Comments flooded in. Greater than, "They can't legally touch him. Classic HOA bullying. Karen's about to get sued." And they were right. A local news reporter reached out, wanting to do a story on HOA overreach. I agreed. They filmed an interview right in my driveway, with the big HOA sign still standing crooked in the background. When the segment aired on TV, it spread like wildfire. Karen's name, full name, was everywhere. The HOA board tried to distance themselves, but it was too late. A week later, I got a letter, not from the HOA this time, but from their lawyer. It was an apology, wrapped in legalese, claiming miscommunication, and promising that all harassment would cease immediately. But I wasn't done. See, I'd learned that Karen had been using HOA funds, community dues, to hire those inspectors who harassed me. That's misappropriation of funds. I sent my evidence to the county auditor and attached the video links. 2 months later, Stonebrook Meadows HOA was under investigation. Karen was removed from her position as president. When I saw her packing her SUV to leave the neighborhood, I walked across the road. She froze when she saw me. "Looks like you're finally leaving," I said. She didn't answer, just stared daggers at me. Her voice trembled when she finally spoke. "You ruined everything." "No," I said calmly. "You did. You could have just let me live my life." She slammed her car door, sped off, and that was the last I ever saw of her. After she left, several neighbors who'd once avoided me came by to apologize. Turns out, many of them were terrified of crossing her. She'd find people for mailbox colors, garden flags, even for leaving garbage cans out an hour too long. I rebuilt the old fence, fixed up the garden, and finally felt peace for the first time since I'd moved in. The irony, the HOA disbanded 6 months later. Without Karen, no one wanted to keep it going. Now the old sign that once stood at my driveway sits in my barn, a little rusted, the paint peeling, but it reminds me of something important. Freedom isn't just about owning property. It's about standing your ground when someone thinks they own you. And sometimes, all it takes to break a tyrant is to hit record.